Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are putting on our hazmat suits and wading into what might be the most confusing, frustrating, and, well, frankly, exhausting part of the modern human experience.
Oh, that's a big claim.
It is, isn't it? I'm talking about the digital dating landscape, but not the fun part, not the we just met and everything is electric part. I'm talking about that specific hollow feeling when you're staring at your phone, waiting for a notification that you know is going to come, but you also know it's not going to say what you want it to say.
It is a unique kind of torture, isn't it? We have more technology to connect than at any point in human history. You can video call someone in Antarctica, yet somehow the emotional connections we are forming feel more fragile, more ambiguous, and more prone to just dissolve into the ether than ever before.
Dissolves the perfect word. It's not a clean break. It's like a fog rolling in, and we've all been there.
Yeah.
You meet someone, maybe on an app, maybe at a party, and the chemistry's there. It feels real. The banter is flying, the emojis are perfectly timed, you're sharing music. You think, okay, finally, this is going somewhere.
Right,
But then it doesn't go anywhere.
right.
But here's the kicker. It doesn't end either. It just enters this weird, suspended animation. You aren't dating, but you aren't really single. You're in this gray zone where you are chasing these little digital signals, hoping they lead to a destination that never actually appears on the map.
You are describing a very specific psychological phenomenon, and I'm glad you brought up that feeling of suspended animation, because that is the key feature. It's not just bad timing. It's not just someone being bad at texting.
Which is the number one excuse.
I
Like,
don't-
oh, they're just not a big texter.
The go-to excuse.
Mhm.
But there is a clinical and behavioral term for this dynamic that has gained massive traction in psychological circles recently. It's called breadcrumbing.
Breadcrumbing. It sounds so innocuous. It sounds like something you do on a nice Sunday morning at the duck pond.
I know. That's almost whimsical.
But in the context of relationships, it's actually pretty insidious behavior.
It is deceptive. The term, of course, is borrowed from the Brothers Grimm fairy tale Hansel and Gretel. In the story, the children leave a trail of breadcrumbs to find their way back home out of the dark forest. It's a survival mechanism.
Right, it's a tool for safety.
Exactly. But in the modern dating world, the metaphor is flipped on its head. The breadcrumber isn't trying to find their way home. They are leading you deeper into the forest with no intention of ever letting you find the gingerbread house. Or a house at all. Just more trees.
That is a terrifying image, but it feels so accurate. It's about dropping just enough morsels of interest. Maybe a late night text, a random meme sent on Instagram, a vague suggestion of we should hang out soon to keep you hungry,
Yeah.
to keep you following the trail.
Precisely. And the mission for this deep dive is to really take this concept apart. We aren't here to just complain about men these days or women these days.
No, this is an venting session.
Not at all. We have a stack of research here. Psychological breakdowns of relationship dynamics, medical reviews on emotional abuse, and expert advice on attachment theory. We want to understand the psychology behind why people do this, why keep someone on the hook if you don't want to reel them in. It seems like a waste of energy.
Right. What is the payoff?
So we're going to look at the anatomy of a breadcrumber, we're going to distinguish it from things like gaslighting, and most importantly, give you a toolkit to handle it.
Let's start with the definition then. We throw these buzzwords around a lot. Gaslighting, love bombing, breadcrumbing, they get all mixed up. But what is the actual technical definition we are working with today?
So if we synthesize the clinical definitions from our source material, breadcrumbing is defined as the act of sending flirty, affectionate, or non-committal verbal or non-verbal cues without a real intention for commitment. It is by definition a form of manipulation.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate for a second here. Manipulation is a really heavy word. Is it always manipulation? Or is it sometimes just someone being flaky or unsure? I mean, calling it manipulation implies a level of malice that I'm not sure is always there.
That is a valid pushback, and a really important one. And we will get into the unintentional breadcrumber later. But here's why the sources lean toward manipulation and even emotional abuse in severe cases.
No.
It is about the disparity between the signal and the intent.
Okay.
The core dynamic is that the breadcrumber feigns interest. They pretend to be interested in developing a sincere relationship to keep you engaged, while internally knowing they have no interest in doing the emotional work that a real relationship entails.
So it's the fake out. It's the fact that they are selling a product they have no intention of shipping.
That's a great way to put it. It's the inconsistency that is manipulative. They drop these crumbs to keep you on the hook. And we need to be clear about what a crumb looks like, because often victims of this don't realize it's happening until they are starving.
Yeah, let's unpack the anatomy of a crumb.
Yeah.
Because I think people imagine it has to be these grand gestures that then get pulled away. But my reading of the sources suggests it's usually much lower effort. It's the lazy manipulation.
Extremely low effort. In fact, that's the whole point. It's the minimum viable investment to maintain a connection. A classic example is, well, meme communication.
Oh, the meme relationship. I know this one well. You can feel like you're at a full-blown romance without ever having a real conversation.
Totally. You might not hear from them for 3 days. They don't ask how your big presentation went. They don't ask how your sick mother is doing. But out of the blue, they send you a funny video of a cat falling off a table on Instagram.
Right.
It requires zero emotional capital from them. It takes 1 second to tap send, but the message it sends to you is, I'm thinking of you. You are relevant to me.
And that little dopamine hit is enough to reset the clock. You go from, I'm done with this person, this is ridiculous, to, oh, look, they share my sense of humor. We have a real connection.
It resets the clock, exactly. Another common crumb is the vague non-committal plan. The let's pencil that in, or my personal favorite, we should definitely check out that new bar sometime.
Sometime. The most dangerous word in the English language. It's a promise of a future that has no intention of ever arriving.
Sometime is a breadcrumber's best friend. It implies a future. It suggests forward momentum. But notice that it never lands on a calendar. It's a hologram of a date. It keeps you waiting, keeping your schedule open, just in case sometime becomes Saturday. But it rarely does.
Another one I've seen is the drive-by social media interaction.
Mm-hmm.
They won't reply to your text message, the one you sent 3 days ago, asking a direct question.
But they'll like a photo you posted from 6 months ago at 2 a.m.
Yes. Or they watch all your stories but never respond. It's this passive engagement that says, I see you, but also, I don't have to engage with you. It's maddening.
It is, because it gives you just enough to feel connected, but not enough to feel secure. It's the definition of an emotional cliffhanger.
I want to distinguish this from ghosting, because I feel like we often lump all bad dating behavior into one bucket. Ghosting is a disappearing act. Poof, gone.
Yes. Ghosting is a sudden, total cessation of contact. It's a period at the end of a sentence. It's painful, absolutely. It's confusing, but it is final. You grieve, you process the rejection, and you move on. Breadcrumbing is different. It's a run-on sentence that goes nowhere. It's a slow, confusing drag.
The sources suggest breadcrumbing can actually be more damaging than ghosting, which seems counterintuitive. Isn't some contact better than no contact?
The brain doesn't think so. And this brings us to one of the most important psychological concepts in this entire deep dive: intermittent reinforcement.
I read the section on B.F. Skinner in our notes, and it actually terrified me. Because we aren't talking about dating anymore, we're talking about lab rats.
We are. In the 1950s, the behavioral psychologist B.F. Skinner conducted a famous series of experiments. He put rats in a box, the Skinner box, with a lever. When the rat pressed the lever, a food pellet would drop out.
Simple enough. Rat presses lever, rat gets snack. Cause and effect.
Right. But then Skinner changed the rules. In one version, the lever always gave food. The rats pressed it only when they were hungry, they were calm, they were in control. In another version, the lever never gave food. The rats learned quickly, this is broken, and they stopped pressing. They moved on.
But then there was the third group, the breadcrumb group.
The variable ratio group. In this scenario, the lever provided food randomly. Maybe you press it once and get a pellet. Maybe you press it 50 times and get nothing. Then you press it again and ding-da, pellet. The rats didn't know when the reward was coming.
And what happened to those rats?
They went insane. They pressed the lever compulsively, anxiously. They would press it until they collapsed from exhaustion. They became obsessed with the lever because the uncertainty spiked their dopamine levels much higher than the guaranteed reward did. The anticipation became the drug.
That is profound. It's the same mechanism as a slot machine.
Yeah.
If you won every time, it would be boring. If you lost every time, you'd leave the casino. But what if the next goal is the jackpot that keeps you glued to the chair, pulling that lever?
And in the context of modern dating, your phone is the Skinner box. The text message notification is the pellet. If the person texted you every day at 9 a.m. like clockwork, you'd feel secure. If they never texted, you'd leave. But the breadcrumber texts you Monday, then silence until Thursday, then sends 3 memes on Friday, then silence until Tuesday. Your brain is stuck in that loop of reward prediction error.
Wow.
You are biologically hijacked to chase the crumb. It's not a character flaw, it's neuroscience.
So when you feel crazy or needy or obsessed with checking your phone, it's not because you were weak, it's because your neurochemistry is being hacked by a variable reward schedule.
Exactly. It is a biological response to uncertainty. Your brain is just trying to solve a puzzle that has no solution.
We also need to draw a line between this and gaslighting. Because the sources mention they can overlap, but they aren't the same thing. Gaslighting is about distorting reality, right? I didn't do that, you're crazy.
Yes. Gaslighting is an assault on your perception of reality. It's about making you doubt your own memory and sanity. If you confronted a gaslighter about flirting with someone else at a party, they would say, I wasn't flirting, you're just paranoid, you're always so jealous. They deny the reality of the event.
Okay, so how is that different from what a breadcrumber does? Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say you get upset because they haven't called in a week after saying they missed you. A breadcrumber usually won't deny that they were silent. They'll acknowledge the reality of the silence, but they'll manipulate the meaning of it.
Oh, so
They might say, I know I've been so underwater with this project, I'm the worst. They admit the behavior, which makes you feel heard, but then they don't change it. Or if they're using gaslighting, they might say, you know how busy I've been with work. Why are you being so demanding? You're acting crazy. They acknowledge the silence, but twist the reality to make your reasonable expectation of a phone call seem like an unreasonable demand. They make you the problem.
it's the subtle shift of blame. I'm not neglecting you, you're smothering me.
Correct. And we have to address the busy defense. Because everyone is busy, we live in a hustle culture. Is there a legitimate line between breadcrumbing and just being a bad texter or being overwhelmed?
So that's what I was wondering earlier. Maybe they aren't intermittent reinforcing me. Maybe they just have a demanding boss and are bad at multitasking.
That is the most common excuse victims make for their breadcrumbers. Oh, he's just bad at his phone. She's just really focused on her career right now. The distinction lies in the push-pull dynamic. This is the telltale sign.
The push-pull. Okay, this is the hallmark. Explain this.
If someone is just genuinely busy or a poor communicator and you stop texting them, the conversation will likely just fade away naturally. They aren't thinking about it. They're, well, busy.
Right, it just fizzles out. Sad, but not manipulative.
But a breadcrumber senses the withdrawal. They are highly attuned to your level of engagement. If they sense you are pulling away, or if you stop engaging with their content, if you stop being the first one to watch their stories, they will suddenly push.
They sense their supply is cutting off.
Exactly. Suddenly, they aren't busy anymore. Suddenly, they have time to send you a long, thoughtful text about an article they read that made them think of you. They become attentive, charming, and present. They might even love bomb you just enough to get you back in the box.
And the second you're back, the second you say, oh, phew, they do like me, and you respond with enthusiasm.
They retreat. The pull happens. They go cold again. They got what they needed, the reassurance that you're still available, and now they can go back to their low-effort ways. It's a cycle of pursuit and distance designed to keep you right in that sweet spot of availability without commitment. They want you on the shelf, not in their hand.
That is exhausting. Just hearing it described makes me tired.
Yeah.
So let's get practical. We've covered the theory. Now I want to look at the practice. If someone is listening to this and thinking, is this happening to me? We have identified 6 major signs from the source material. And to make this concrete, let's use a hypothetical couple. Let's say Sam is our listener and Alex is the potential breadcrumber.
Good idea. Concrete examples help us see the pattern.
Okay, sign number 1, the flirt to nowhere, or as I like to call it, the textlationship.
This is a very common modern dynamic. Sam and Alex are texting constantly. Good morning texts, good night texts, sharing inside jokes. Maybe they've even shared some deep personal secrets over text. It feels like a relationship. It has all the emotional texture of one.
Right, the digital intimacy is off the charts.
Off the charts. But Sam has never actually seen Alex in person or hasn't seen them in months. They exist almost entirely within the confines of the phone screen.
And every time Sam tries to bridge that gap, every time Sam says, hey, let's take this offline,
Alex deflects. If Sam says, hey, that new Italian place opened, we should go, Alex says, oh man, that looks amazing. I'm slammed this week, though. But notice, they don't offer an alternative time. They just shut it down with a plausible excuse.
Mhm.
They keep the digital intimacy high, but the physical reality at zero.
It's like having a pen pal who lives 3 blocks away but acts like they're on the International Space Station.
Exactly. Which brings us to sign number 2, which is kind of the inverse.
Yeah.
The booty call disguise. This is where the interest is shown, but it is strictly compartmentalized.
This is the 11 p.m. text versus the 11 a.m. text.
Right. Alex messages Sam late at night. You up? Want to come over and watch a movie? There's plenty of enthusiasm for physical intimacy. They are very available for that. But if Sam asks Alex to go to a farmer's market on Sunday or grab a coffee on a Tuesday afternoon,
Alex is a ghost. Suddenly, that busy schedule reappears.
the enthusiasm evaporates. This signals that Alex sees Sam as a body or a convenience, not a partner. Breadcrumbing often involves keeping someone around for sexual access without the cost of emotional intimacy or public-facing couple activities.
Right. They'll see you in private, but not in public.
Exactly. They won't integrate you into their life.
Which leads right into sign number 3, the mysteriously busy persona. We touched on this, but let's go deeper into what that looks like.
We all have busy seasons, but the breadcrumber's busyness is unique. It's vague. It's inconsistent. Alex might say, work is crazy right now, but Sam sees Alex watching every single Instagram story Sam posts within 5 minutes of it going up.
Or Sam sees Alex tagged in photos at a bar with friends on a Friday night after Alex told Sam they had to work late. So they aren't too busy for beer, just too busy for Sam.
Exactly. And the key here is the apology without action. Alex will say, I'm so sorry I've been MIA, I'm the worst. They acknowledge the bad behavior, which makes Sam feel validated.
Oh, totally. That little apology is a huge crumb.
It's a massive crumb, because you think, oh, he knows he's doing it, so he must care. But Alex makes no effort to change the behavior. An apology without change is just manipulation. It's a tool to get you to back off without them having to actually do anything different.
Okay, sign number 4, the detective game. This is my personal nightmare. This is when the communication becomes so cryptic that you need a PhD to decipher it.
This is about the quality of the crumbs. Alex's messages are superficial. They don't ask follow-up questions. Sam will send a long paragraph about their stressful day, and the response from Alex is, that's crazy, or just a single emoji.
The thumbs up emoji.
Oh.
The relationship killer.
It's devastating, because it leaves Sam in the role of detective. Sam finds himself screenshotting the conversation and sending it to the group chat. Guys, what did he mean by this thumbs up emoji? Is it sarcastic? Is it passive-aggressive? Is he mad at me?
If you have to convene a tribunal of your 3 best friends to interpret a text message, you are being breadcrumbed. Secure relationships are clear. You don't need a decoder ring.
That is a golden rule. Confusion is a sign. If you are confused, it's not because you are missing something. It's because they're being confusing on purpose. It keeps them in control.
Okay, sign number 5. Mixed messages. The cognitive dissonance. This one is brutal.
This is the verbal confusion. Alex might say things that are incredibly intense, things that imply a deep connection or a future. I've never felt like this about anyone, or I really miss your face. They drop these emotional bombs.
Words that are like grade A relationship material. Words that make you think, okay, this is it. We're on the same page.
Exactly. But then Alex disappears for 3 weeks.
Right.
The words say come closer, but the actions say stay away. This creates cognitive dissonance in Sam. Sam wants to believe the words because the words are flattering and hopeful, so Sam ignores the actions. We tend to believe what we want to be true, not what we see.
And you cling to those words during the weeks of silence. You replay them in your head. They become the proof that you're not crazy.
They become the evidence you present to your friends. But he said he missed me. It's a way of justifying the waiting.
And finally, sign number 6. The biggest red flag of them all. The withdrawal response.
This is the litmus test. This is how you confirm it's a game. If Sam finally gets fed up and decides, I'm done, I'm not texting Alex first anymore, I'm not watching his stories.
Silence. Sam goes dark.
And that's when the zombie rises from the grave.
Almost immediately. It's uncanny. Alex will pop up with a high-effort message. Not a meme. Something personal. Hey, stranger, been thinking about you. I had a dream about you last night. They might even suggest a specific date. We really need to get that dinner we talked about next week.
But it's a trap, a carefully laid trap.
It is a trap. It's a move to regain control. Once Sam responds and re-engages, Alex feels secure again. Okay, Sam is still on the shelf. The connection is safe. And then Alex fades back out. It becomes a game for them. They want to win your attention back, not because they want you, but because they want the validation of your attention. Okay, so we know what they do. And frankly, Alex sounds like a nightmare. But the question that always haunts the Sams of the world is why? Why would someone spend time and energy doing this? It seems like a lot of work to keep someone on a string if you don't actually want them. Wouldn't it be easier to just not?
It does seem counterintuitive. From a logical standpoint, it's inefficient. But when we look at the psychology, we see that breadcrumbing serves a very specific function for the breadcrumber. And it's important to note, as our sources do, that there isn't just one type of breadcrumber. We aren't just talking about villains twirling their mustaches. There's a spectrum of intent.
Let's start with the one I defended earlier, the innocent or unintentional breadcrumber. Is this real or is it just an excuse?
It is real. The innocent breadcrumber isn't malicious. They are usually conflict avoidant. They might genuinely not know what they want. They have uncertain relationship goals. Maybe Alex likes Sam, but isn't sure if they are the one. Or maybe Alex just got out of a long-term relationship and is confused.
So they keep the door open just in case, while they figure their stuff out.
Precisely. They fear rejection. Or, more likely, they fear being the bad guy. They don't want to hurt Sam's feelings by saying, I'm not interested. They think they're being nice by responding politely to texts. They don't realize that their niceness, this slow fade, this ambiguity, is actually causing more pain than a clean, honest break would. They are prioritizing their own comfort, which is avoiding an awkward conversation over Sam's clarity.
That makes a lot of sense. The intent isn't to harm, but the impact is still harmful.
That's the key. Then there's the lonely breadcrumber. This one feels a bit sadder.
Yeah.
This is someone who is seeking a pseudo-connection. Research suggests these individuals often lack healthy, close friendships or a supportive community. They feel isolated. So they reach out to Sam not because they want a relationship with Sam, but because they want someone to fill a void.
They use Sam as an emotional pacifier.
That's a perfect analogy. When a baby cries, you give it a pacifier. It soothes them. When the lonely breadcrumber feels a pang of isolation at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, they text Sam. Sam replies, the breadcrumber feels seen. The loneliness subsides for a moment. They spit the pacifier out and go to sleep. They don't need Sam anymore until the next pang of loneliness hits.
Oof, that is bleak. To be someone's temporary fix for loneliness.
It's using someone as a utility. It's not about connection. It's about regulation.
Then we have the committed breadcrumber. This is where we get into what the sources call micro-cheating.
This is unfortunately very common in the digital age. These are people who are already in a relationship. They might be breadcrumbing Sam as a backup plan. We call this mate switching insurance in evolutionary psychology. They're keeping their options open.
A backup plan, like a spare tire in the trunk.
Exactly. If their current relationship fails, they have Sam warmed up and ready to go. This explains the vagueness. They literally can't meet up on weekends because they are with their actual partner. The mystery isn't mystery, it's logistics.
That is incredibly selfish.
Yeah.
You are parking a car in a spot you aren't using just so no one else can park there.
That is exactly what it is. It's a form of emotional infidelity. And closely related is the X factor, the ex who keeps a foot in the door. They break up with you, but then send the song made me think of you text a week later.
Ah, the worst.
They are checking to see if they still have access to you. It's an ego check. Do I still own this real estate? Can I still get a reaction? It keeps them from having to fully process the loss of the relationship.
Speaking of ego, we have to go to the dark side. We have to talk about narcissism and self-esteem.
Yes. At a fundamental level, a lot of breadcrumbing is often driven by fragile self-esteem. The breadcrumber seeks validation. Knowing that someone likes them, that someone is waiting for their text, provides a temporary ego boost. It's a way to fill a void in themselves.
So they are using your interest like a battery to charge themselves up.
Correct. But if we look at narcissistic personality disorder, or even just strong narcissistic traits, it gets more calculated and, frankly, more predatory. We need to distinguish between the grandiose narcissist and the vulnerable narcissist.
What's the difference in how they breadcrumb?
The grandiose narcissist breadcrumbs for supply. They want an audience. They want adulation. They want the chase. For them, withholding attention and then granting it is a power trip. They enjoy the control and the emotional reaction it gets from you.
Ziggy, they're playing for sport.
For sport, exactly. The vulnerable narcissist, however, breadcrumbs out of deep insecurity. They have an inflated sense of self, but it's incredibly brittle. They need constant reassurance that they could have you if they wanted. You are a safety blanket for their fragility. They need to know you're there, pining for them to feel okay about themselves.
And finally, the sources mentioned attachment theory. We hear about this all the time. Secure, anxious, avoidant. How does this map onto breadcrumbing?
This is critical to understanding the deeper why. The classic breadcrumber often has an avoidant attachment style. To understand this, we have to look at the famous strange situation procedure developed by Mary Ainsworth in the 1970s.
Walk us through that. What was it?
They observed toddlers and their mothers in a playroom. When the mother left the room and then returned, secure children cried when she left, but were easily comforted when she came back. They sought her out.
Okay, that makes sense.
Avoidant children did something fascinating. When the mother left, they didn't seem to care. They just kept playing. When she returned, they actively ignored her. They acted like they didn't care. But when researchers measured their heart rates,
They were freaking out.
through the roof. Their physiological stress was just as high as the crying babies, but they had learned a deactivation strategy. They learned early on that expressing needs leads to rejection or being ignored, so they shut down the outward expression of need.
Wow. So as adults,
As adults, when Sam gets too close, when things get too real, Alex's nervous system literally signals a threat. Intimacy feels dangerous. So they deactivate, they pull away.
so the pulling away isn't always a conscious game to them. It's a panic response.
Often, yes. It's a deeply ingrained defense mechanism. Keeping Sam at arm's length feels safe. It allows Alex to engage with the idea of a relationship without the threat of real vulnerability. They want the connection, but they are terrified of the dependency.
That brings a level of compassion to it, I guess. It sounds like they're in their own kind of prison, but it doesn't make it less painful for Sam.
Absolutely not. Explaining the behavior doesn't excuse the impact. I'm going to need to talk about the impact on the eater of the crumbs, because it is significant and it is damaging.
The sources say it contributes to loneliness, helplessness, and lower life satisfaction, which makes sense. Helplessness is a key word there. You feel like you have no control.
You are in a reactive state. You have surrendered your agency. You are just waiting for the next text, the next crumb. And this creates the hope trap. Because the rewards are intermittent, you are constantly hopeful that this time it will be different. This time the crumbs will turn into a full meal.
And you end up putting your life on hold. You turn down other dates because what if Alex texts? You keep your Friday night free just in case.
You're living in a hypothetical future with this person instead of the disappointing reality. And over time, this erodes your self-worth. You start to gaslight yourself.
You do. You start to think, maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I should just be chill. If I were funnier, prettier, smarter, Alex would commit. You internalize their inability to connect as a reflection of your value, which is a lie. It's a complete fabrication your brain creates to make sense of the situation.
It is a mathematical lie. Their behavior is about their attachment system, their trauma, their ego. It has nothing to do with your worthiness. But when you are in the fog of the Skinner box, you can't see the exit sign.
So let's show them the exit. We promised a toolkit. If you are listening to this and realizing, oh God, I am Sam, I'm being breadcrumbed, what do? We have 4 strategies drawn from our sources. Strategy number 1, the call out.
This is about direct, non-accusatory communication. You point out the pattern of behavior. This serves 2 purposes. It shows you're aware of the game, which often scares off a conscious manipulator, and it gives them a chance to explain if there truly is a misunderstanding.
Okay, but let's be real. If I send a text saying, I feel frustrated when I don't hear from you, I'm going to feel like the needy one. I'm going to feel like I'm demanding attention. How do we get over that cringe factor?
That cringe you feel, that is conditioned shame. You have been taught, probably by society, maybe by past experiences, that having needs makes you high maintenance or the crazy ex. But look at the data. Securely attached people state their needs early and clearly. It's a sign of health.
So what's the script? How do we say it without sounding desperate or accusatory?
The sources suggest an I statement that focuses on your feelings and needs, not their failings. Something like, hey, I wanted to check in. I've noticed our communication has been pretty sporadic lately. I feel frustrated when I don't hear from you for several days because I'm looking for someone who can stay in touch consistently.
That is bold. It's professional almost.
Yeah.
It's not emotional, it's just factual.
It sets a standard. You are essentially saying, this is the price of admission to my life. If you can't pay it, you can't come in. A healthy, available person will respond well to that. They'll say, you're right, I'm sorry, I've been swamped, but I want to make more of an effort. A breadcrumber will make excuses, get defensive, or call you too intense.
And if they do that, you have your answer.
You have your answer. Their reaction to your boundary tells you everything you need to know.
Strategy number 2 is my favorite. It's the specific date test. This cuts through the mysteriously busy fog like a laser.
It is a very effective tactical move.
Right.
When they send a vague text like, let's hang soon, do not say, yeah, sure, or sounds good.
That's what we usually do. We play along with the vagueness because we don't want to seem pushy.
Instead, you counter with specifics. I'd love to. How about a picnic this Saturday at noon?
Boom. Specific activity, specific day, specific time. There's no ambiguity there.
Now, watch the reaction. If they are genuinely interested, but just disorganized, they will say yes, or I can't Saturday, but how about Sunday at 1? They will offer a solution. They will work with you.
Right, they meet you halfway.
If they are breadcrumbing, they will panic. They will avoid committing. They'll say, I'll have to let you know, or let me check my schedule and get back to you, and then they never do.
And if they dodge like that, what's the next move?
Then you use the follow-up script. You seem pretty busy, so I'll let you suggest a time to meet once you're free. And then, and this is the hardest part for people, you stop initiating and you put the ball entirely in their court. You step out of the game.
And if they never suggest a time?
Then they were never going to.
Yeah.
And you have saved yourself 6 more months of wondering. You forced the no that they were too cowardly to say out loud.
Strategy number 3, the goal check. This is the scary one because it feels like the talk.
It is, but it's necessary. This is for when the mixed messages are confusing you. You initiate a conversation about the big picture. You can say something like, I'm getting the impression we might have different relationship goals, which is totally fine. I'm at a place where I'd like to build a stable partnership. What are you looking for right now?
It forces them to state their intentions. And the funny thing is, often breadcrumbers will tell on themselves here. They might admit, yeah, honestly, I'm not looking for anything serious right now.
And if they say that, you must believe them. This is where Sam often fails. Sam hears, I'm not looking for anything serious, and thinks, challenge accepted. I will be the one to change his mind. I'll be so amazing, he'll have to commit.
Do not do that. That is a movie script, not reality. You can't love someone into being available.
Correct. If they tell you they're unavailable, believe them the first time, thank them for their honesty, and walk away.
Finally, strategy number 4, establish non-negotiables. This is more about you than them.
This is internal work. Before you even get into these situations, you must decide what behavior you will not tolerate. For example, I will not engage with someone who consistently cancels plans. Or, I will not wait more than 24 hours for a reply to a direct question. You have to honor your own needs enough to be willing to walk away when those lines are crossed.
It's about building your own fence.
Exactly. And a crucial warning from our sources here. Avoid the temptation to breadcrumb them back.
Oh, the revenge crumb.
Yeah.
I'll wait 3 hours to text him back because he waited 2 hours. We've all done it.
It's so tempting. You want to give them a taste of their own medicine. You want to regain the upper hand. But revenge tactics only keep you tethered to the pain. It keeps you in the game, obsessing over their response times. The goal isn't to win the game. The goal is to leave the casino.
So let's talk about leaving the casino. Let's talk about healing. Because if you've been in this skitterbox for a while, getting out feels like withdrawal. The silence is deafening.
It is withdrawal. You are breaking a dopamine addiction. And self-compassion is the first step. You have to stop beating yourself up for falling for it. You didn't fall for it because you were stupid. You fell for it because you were human and you want connection and you were being deliberately manipulated.
Our sources also list some specific therapy angles that can help. Because sometimes we have to ask ourselves, why is Sam attracted to Alex in the first place? Why does the breadcrumb feel more exciting than the whole loaf?
That is the brave question to ask. Therapy can be instrumental here. For instance, CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy, can help you recognize the thought patterns that lead you to accept disrespect. You might have a core belief that I have to earn love, or love is hard work. If you believe love is a struggle, the breadcrumber's inconsistency feels like home.
Feels normal.
Feels normal. CBT helps you challenge and change those core beliefs.
What about EMDR? That's usually for PTSD, right?
Yeah.
How does that apply here?
Yes. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. If you have past relationship trauma or childhood abandonment issues, being ignored by a text message might trigger a massive emotional flashback. You aren't reacting to the text, you are reacting to the time your dad left or a parent was emotionally unavailable. EMDR can help resolve those traumatic memories so you don't seek out partners who help you replay that trauma.
And psychodynamic therapy. That sounds intense.
That dives into the unconscious motives. It looks at your childhood imago, the template of love you learned from your parents. If you had an inconsistent parent, one who was sometimes warm and sometimes cold, you will likely seek out inconsistent partners because it feels familiar. You are subconsciously trying to fix the childhood wound by getting the breadcrumber to finally commit and love you consistently.
It's heavy stuff, but doing that work is how you break the cycle. Otherwise, you just date Alex with a different face next year.
Absolutely. The final reality check from all our sources is this. If someone consistently shows a lack of willingness to connect emotionally or spend time with you, they are not the right match. It doesn't matter how great the chemistry is in the texts. One or two close, real friendships are infinitely more fulfilling than a dozen shallow breadcrumb connections.
That brings us to our aha moment for this deep dive.
Right.
What's the one thing you want people to take away from this?
For me, it's the realization that crumbs are not a meal. You cannot starve yourself waiting for someone to learn how to cook. The hunger you feel is real, but the sustenance they are offering is an illusion.
I love that. And here's a final provocative thought to leave you with, something to mull over. We've had this whole deep dive analyzing the breadcrumber. We've analyzed Alex. But take a look in the mirror. Consider the concept of availability.
Yes.
Yep.
This is the uncomfortable pivot. Are you accepting breadcrumbs because deep down you are afraid of the whole loaf? Sometimes we accept unavailable partners because it protects us from the vulnerability of our real, demanding, full-time commitment. The breadcrumber is safe because they never ask you to truly show up. They never ask to meet your parents. They never ask you to compromise. They never ask for anything real.
So are you chasing them because you want them, or are you chasing them because you're scared of someone who actually wants you? Are you hiding in the forest because the idea of a real house is actually kind of scary?
A question worth asking.
Thank you for listening to this deep dive. Stop chasing the crumbs, put down the phone, and go find yourself the whole bakery.